It's time to start your morning by taking 5. Here's your host, Matt McMaster.
You're listening to Take 5, a quick 5-minute take on the biggest things happening in Nebraska sports. I'm your host, Matt McMaster. The Creighton Blue Jays begin their postseason journey tonight when they take on the Depaul Blue Demons. That game will be at 5:30 at FS1. Creighton a big favorite, an 11-point favorite in that one. As we talked about it yesterday, the importance of Creighton kind of getting off of that 8-9 seed line, heading into the NCAA tournament. At this point, they are firmly locked into the tourney. It's just what number do they get? Is there a benefit tonight of maybe losing and saving some of your legs and maybe even falling back to that 10 seed line because the number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament are really, really good? Yeah, there is. I mean, I wouldn't say absolutely without a doubt there is, but there are things that that exist. But Creighton, I think it would be really, really important and just a great story in general for them to go on a run, win the Big East tournament, put themselves in that 7 seed line because of just the great basketball they're playing to end the year, get your feet rolling headed into March, and finally, kind of mark that accomplish off the list for, Coach Greg McDermott, who's had an incredible career at Creighton, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's one of the greatest Creighton Blue Jays of all time. So that journey begins for them tonight where they play DePaul, a DePaul team that, had to play yesterday for a reason. But at the same time, they've won their last 3 games. They're playing for something. They looked pretty good at times yesterday, so that should be an interesting matchup. But in general, we are in some gambling season here, man. Conference tournaments, NCAA tournament next year. It's like Christmas come early for people who enjoy that stuff. I enjoy that stuff a ton. And today we have an awesome slate of games, an awesome, what I call a board of games. You got your board. You look at your big board. What do you want to pick? What don't you want to pick? Typically, I'm pretty conservative. Don't have too many to, not over an abundance to pick from. Today we have a ton to pick from. A lot of great games out there. We'll start with my favorite of the day, which actually is tipping off around the release of this video. Oregon -1.5 against Indiana. Indiana playing to secure their lives in the NCAA tournament. I think that's going to make a lot of people think that, hey, this is a team that because what is on the line, they're going to play harder, they're going to be better. And I do think that is kind of something you can think about, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in this episode. But Oregon is playing some of their best basketball of the season. They've won their last 7 games in a row. They've been absolutely dominant. Dana Altman has these guys playing at maybe the highest level they have been all year. One of those wins came not too long ago against Indiana. I just think that Oregon is playing such high-level basketball that just 1.5 points to lay is nothing. So I'll go with the Ducks in that one. Then let's go on the other side of the coin, right? You have Xavier, who's going to take on Marquette. They're a 2-point underdog in this one. See, you'll see here with the trends, Xavier and Marquette are two very competitive teams. The 2 times that they've played together against each other this year, both margins were 2 points. This is going to be an absolute just slugfest in the Garden, in the Big East tournament. Xavier also coming off of a 7-game win streak where they've dominated the Big East, including a 20-point win against Creighton. They are fighting for their NCAA tournament lives. So I will hit the Xavier Musketeers in this one. Then we go to Iowa, and they're taking on Illinois. Iowa's season is basically done. They played an Ohio State team yesterday. They shot the lights out, but Iowa's just a little bit too inconsistent for me. They just haven't, this team is only competitive when they score 80 points a game. It's just throughout the year, they will be absolutely on fire in some games, and they'll be absolutely cold. So I worry about the inconsistency of the Hawkeyes, but at the same time, Illinois, man, 3 wins in a row, including big wins over Purdue and Michigan, the 2 of the top teams of the Big Ten Conference. They're fully healthy. They get their center back, Marez Johnson. What I like about this team is that you can have different guys clicking at the same, at different games throughout the season, and that allows them to win. One game it could be Will Shipley's game or Will Riley's game. Another game it could be Ivasic's game or Kasparis Yakachonis or Kylan Boswell. So we've just seen this Illinois team, they can do it in so many ways. They've won 3 games in a row. They're playing their best ball of the season. So I'm going to go with Illinois -7. And then my final pick, This is the one I'm a little bit nervous about. They looked really good against South Carolina yesterday until South Carolina made a comeback at the very end, but they were still able, depending on when you bet them yesterday, they were still able to cover. But John Calipari in Arkansas, another team that's kind of on the bubble line, fighting for their lives. They take on an Ole Miss team that has been struggling down the stretch as of late in SEC play. I just think this game, I don't know if Arkansas is going to win it outright, but plus 3.5 is a little bit of too big of a number, especially when you're talking about postseason play here and just teams that have stakes on the line. I mean, Ole Miss, they're trying to up their seeding heading into the NCAA tournament too. So I think it's too big of a number. Give me the Razorbacks in that one. So that's been our little gambling segment. Why not? Have some fun, make some money, make some memories, have a good time, gamble responsibly, of course, as always. And you've been listening to Take 5. I've been Matt McMaster.